Hello again, everyone. I'm Richard Weil, and I'm the principal and owner of National Restaurant Consultants. We welcome you in again today to our 129th episode of the NRC Helpful Moment. I have a little bit of internet issues here and there, but that's no problem. I'm going to once again welcome Mr. Brian Devine from Top Line Management Cafe Fuel. Hello, Brian.
Hey, Richard. How are you today?
I'm really delightful. Thank you very much. Thank you. And today, I think, is about 11 or 12 times you've been on, Jared. I think maybe something like that. So Jared Flowers is our Vice President of National Restaurant Consultants, live from Gilbert, Arizona, where I'm sure it's just a modest 110, 112 degrees down there today. What is it, Jared?
It's only 104 today, but we still have humidity, so why not?
You are getting that because you've had the monsoon moisture, and understanding you've been getting a reasonable amount of rain recently down in the Southwest, which is great. Good for you guys. So today's topic is all about the entree. What are we calling that? The entree relief?
The Entree Act.
The Entree Act is the new proposal for restaurants as the second phase of the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, RRF. And Jared was able to join Sean Kennedy, who's the VP for the National Restaurant Association, and he was involved and invited, like many other food service professionals, on Monday of this week, which would have been the 26th of July. He attended the seminar. We're going to have Jared give some highlights to those of you that didn't get any RRF money. We are going to provide some information for you on some hopes and how you can urge your Congress people to engage in getting that Entree Act passed. So, Jared, if you would, take off. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. It's been a while. I'm happy to be back. And really, Monday was really enlightening because, again, it was purely data-driven conversation. I'm going to look down at my notes a couple of times, but for those that don't already know, there were 278,000 applicants to the Restaurant Revitalization Fund before they closed accept applications. That was asking for right around $72 billion. The initial payout, we paid out 101,000 of those applications at $26.86 billion. Not to just regurgitate a whole bunch of numbers, but that wasn't nearly where we wanted to be. That still left in the queue folks whose applications were accepted and or processed. We did have some folks that were approved and then banks rejected. There was a whole lot of issues with, moving females, minorities, and veterans up to the front of the line. So it got a little confusing with how they processed some of this. But nevertheless, that left 177 million applications to the tune of 43.6 billion that was not paid before it ran out of money. And listening to Sean, he has a lot of great data to share, one of which was that our industry is coming back really strong, but we're still struggling. We're seeing food costs rise. We are about 1.3 million jobs less than where we were before the pandemic. So we're still struggling across the entire industry as far as trying to find staffing and find money. But one of the biggest questions that operators were asking on this forum was, what happens now? I filled out my application, I was accepted, they ran out of money. What do I do? Or what does this mean for me? Well, the real answer is they're not accepting any new applications into the RRF. So if you're in the queue, you're still in the queue, you're still in line. You will not lose your place in line. You're not getting bumped out. You're not, whoever's there and has an accepted application is in line. So as they refund this, know that you're there. And they're not taking anybody else that can jump in front of you. So applications are completely closed. They're not taking any new ones. That 101,000 applications that are sitting there will be prioritized in the order that they were received. Now, that being said, this Entree Act that they're proposing right now in Congress is twofold. One is it's a $60 billion influx back into the folks that are in line already. There's a secondary proposal in that is in Congress right now that's an additional $60 billion that's pulling from state coffers for monies that they were allocated, but they weren't used. We're getting a lot of pushback from certain sides of the aisle that don't want to reallocate these state funds directly to the industry, but they are funds that were not spent, that were previously allocated. So right now, the National Restaurant Association is pushing real hard to double the Entree Act from $60 billion to $120 billion, which will cover more than a third of what's outstanding right now for people that are in the queue. At the very least, we feel like the $60 billion is going to get pushed through relatively quickly. But if we can use those, what he called the unspent funds in existing coffers between the states, based on what they have available, if Congress is able to get that pushed through, and then the states are willing to approve it, then we could essentially see double that $60 billion. We're not suggesting that that's going to pass with flying colors, but that's what Sean mentioned yesterday and is on the table. So there is some sun on the horizon for a little bit, but for those that are at the back of that line, we do just have to kind of hurry up and wait and hope that our government will take care of us. But the data is, they're working on it. The National Restaurant Association is pushing, and National Restaurant Consultants is following every bit of data as it comes out to bring it to you, to make sure that you guys are abreast of everything that's going on. So if there's even a question as to where I sit in line, or if I'm still in line, or is there any money, whether it's good news or bad news, you can always reach out to myself or to Richard or any one of our consultants, and we'll at least get the data to you as soon as it's made available to us or to the public. And that's what we're here for. So for today, what we have is, if you're in line, you're still in line, there's money coming, and keep your fingers crossed and hope you're at the front of that line. Yeah. And that's what I have for today.
Thank you, Jared, and really appreciate that. And we are really good at the RRF. We helped dozens of clients throughout the country get their funding. We do have some clients, as Jared said, that are, quote, still in line that didn't get their money. And we're here and able to be helpful. So I'm going to flip over to Brian and see what he can segue in on the marketing side to this. Brian?
Yes, that's always exciting for me. Actually, something that Jared said that caught my attention was that things are getting better, but there are still issues, right? And one thing that I want everyone that's listening to really think about is what's called social listening. Because things are getting better and people are going out more and they're starting to go back to restaurants, then there's also a lot of misinformation or just misunderstandings of how things are going, because we all know that cost of goods have gone up dramatically. We know that cost of labor has gone up dramatically, and all that is obviously going to filter down to the patron, right? So just to give you an example, we went to one of our favorite restaurants just down the street last night. We used to be able to go there for a family of 4. It would cost about $48, and it was now $80. And at first, that's a shock. But at the same time, because I'm so deep and involved in this, I understood what was happening and why those prices had to go up the way they did, and was happy to do it. Lots of people don't feel the same way that I do, and they don't understand why those prices are what they are. So social listening means that you are actively listening to what is happening on social media. There are tools to help with this, but the number one tool is to just look, see what people are saying, how people are responding. Take a look at your reviews. Are people complaining about pricing? If that is happening, get in front of it, talk about it, explain to people what is going on, that this is not gouging. This is just the reality that we're in right now. So the more you can kind of help get in front of that and just talk to people honestly about what's going on, I think the better off you're going to be. And again, it's just how do you utilize your social media so that people feel good about coming to your restaurant instead of feeling like, wow, that I can't imagine why this would, why did it cost so much? It's doubled in just a year. Explain it. And then the last little piece is I highly recommend that you don't tack on small little fees, because that is insulting to the patron. People do not like that. If you explain why things are more expensive, they'll pay it and they'll happily do it. But if you say, and we don't trust that you're going to tip well, so we're going to force everyone to a 18% tip rate, or we're going to add on this little fee because of whatever the reason might be today, people won't come back. So it's not worth doing. So I just want to cover on that because, I mean, Jared, when you said that things are getting better, they are. And there are still issues. But people that are not in the industry don't know that. So don't assume that they do. Help them understand, explain it to them, and use all the tools at your disposal to do that.
Agreed, Brian. And if I could tack on to that, I tried to place an online order night before last. It's so funny that you brought that up. But as I'm placing an online order for pickup, I had a $4.06 fee added at the bottom of my check for health and sanitation fee. I'm saying if you are a restaurateur that's listening to this right now and you need to add fees, please find another way than adding a health and sanitation fee, because as a guest, I would have hoped that all along you were keeping me healthy and your restaurant was sanitary without needing my extra $4. So I understand post-COVID things have changed. Call it something different if that's the direction you're going to go. I did cancel my order and I did not order from this particular restaurant, but a health and sanitation fee should not be something we're telling our guests they have to pay for us to keep them safe.
Yeah.
That's all I have. Sorry.
I couldn't agree more.
You're absolutely right, Jared. And the number one complaint restaurant that goers or consumers have right now is the nickel and dime. Being seamless with people is the only way to go. Your customers are smarter than those little $2, $3, $4 charges. If it's a carryout fee, if it's a delivery fee, that's probably a little more understandable. We've seen those for years with the pizza and the Asian food delivery works. Probably not an issue so much. But you start tacking on a service charge, a health fee, a COVID fee, put it into your pricing. Build it into your pricing. If you need help with menu engineering, there's another segue here. We're experts at menu engineering. Jared, how many menu engineerings have you done in your career?
It's been over 100 for sure.
100 different restaurant groups.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean how many different establishments. The point is, we're experts at menu engineering. That will recover that. Just let us do the menu engineering. Don't just nickel and dime your customers. Be upfront. Be all that you can be to be transparent. So the NRC Helpful Moment is about being helpful. Jared Flowers, can't thank you enough for you taking the time to share the information off the Entree Act. Brian Devine, as always, you have a wealth of marketing ideas. So that's it for the NRC Helpful Moment for today, 129. We'll be back next week with our 130th. So long for now, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.